Monday of the 13th week in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the book of Genesis. Abraham and the men who had visited him by the terebinth of Mamre set out from there and looked down toward Sodom. Abraham was walking with them to see them on their way. And the Lord reflected, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do, now that he is to become a great and populous nation, and all the nations of the earth are to find blessing in him? Indeed, I have singled him out, that he may direct his children and his household after him, to keep the way of the Lord, by doing what is right and just, so that the Lord may carry into effect for Abraham the promises he made about him." Then the Lord said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin so grave, that I must go down and see whether or not their actions fully correspond to the cry against them that comes to me. I mean to find out." While the two men walked on farther towards Sodom, the Lord remained standing before Abraham. Then Abraham drew nearer to him and said, "Will you sweep away the innocent with the guilty? Suppose there were 50 innocent people in the city. Would you wipe out the place, rather than spare it, for the sake of the 50 innocent people within it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to make the innocent die with the guilty, so that the innocent and the guilty would be treated alike. Should not the judge of all the world act with justice?" The Lord replied, "If I find 50 innocent people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake." Abraham spoke up again, "See how I am presuming to speak to my Lord, though I am but dust and ashes. What if there are 5 less than 50 innocent people? Will you destroy the whole city because of those 5? He answered, "I will not destroy it if I find 45 there." But Abraham persisted, saying, "What if only 40 are found there?" He replied, "I will forbear doing it for the sake of 40. Then Abraham said, "Let not my Lord grow impatient if I go on. What if only 30 are found there?" He replied, "I will forbear doing it if I can find but 30 there." Still Abraham went on, "Since I have thus dared to speak to my Lord, what if there are no more than 20? He answered, "I will not destroy it for the sake of the 20. But he still persisted, "Please, let not my Lord grow angry if I speak up this last time. What if there are at least 10 there?" He replied, "For the sake of those 10, I will not destroy it." The Lord departed as soon as he had finished speaking with Abraham, and Abraham returned home. The word of the Lord.
The responsorial psalm. The response is, "The Lord is kind and merciful." Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all my being bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. The Lord is kind and merciful. He pardons all your iniquities. He heals all your ills. He redeems your life from destruction. He crowns you with kindness and compassion. The Lord is kind and merciful. Merciful and gracious is the Lord, slow to anger and abounding in kindness. He will not always chide, nor does he keep his wrath forever. The Lord is kind and merciful. Not according to our sins does he deal with us, nor does he requite us according to our crimes. For as the heavens are high above the earth, so surpassing is his kindness toward those who fear him. The Lord is kind and merciful.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to cross to the other shore. A scribe approached and said to him, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus answered him, "Foxes have dens and birds of the sky have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to rest his head." Another of his disciples said to him, "Lord, let me go first and bury my father." But Jesus answered him, "Follow me, and let the dead bury their dead." The Gospel of the Lord.
Monday of the 13th week in Ordinary Time. The first reading comes from Genesis 18, 16 to 33. This is the scene that occurs immediately after the three angels, or God and two angels, visited Abraham. In that scene, Abraham was promised that he would have a son from Sarah by the same time next year. Well, as the two angels go away, they are going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah for its sinfulness. And God decides that it's only right that he share this information with Abraham. After all, Abraham was his friend, and so he informs him of that. Well, as God and Abraham walk along, Abraham tries to bargain God down, saying that if there's 50 just men in Sodom and Gomorrah, will you destroy it? 40, 30, until finally it gets down to 10. Even if only 10 just people were found in Sodom and Gomorrah, God promised not to destroy it. Unfortunately, not even that number could be found. This certainly shows the idea that Abraham was a close friend of God, somebody that God would entrust with his secret, with his decision to call judgment upon those two cities. The Gospel is from Matthew 8, 18 to 22. A scribe wants to follow Jesus, and Jesus' response, "Foxes have their dens, birds of the air have their nest. The Son of Man has no place to lay his head." In this passage, Jesus is telling the scribe that following him is a journey. It's not an arrival. It's not that our faith will bring us to the promised land and we'll have no difficulties, but rather we have to continue to search the will of God throughout our life. And the answer that we receive from God at one stage of our life might be different from another. Our faith has to evolve as our relationship with God evolves. And then another disciple has to follow Jesus, but he has first to bury his father. Most probably this is not referring to the burial that would occur within 24 hours of the death. Rather, it's referring to the idea that about a year after the person had died, the eldest son would enter the tomb, gather up the bones from the decomposed body, put them into an urn or into a sarcophagus, and place them in an inner room in the tomb. So the disciple is really asking not for a day's grace, but possibly as long as a year's grace before he would follow Jesus. And Jesus' response, "Let the dead bury the dead." He's not saying that we shouldn't show honor to those who died, but rather it's a Jewish way of saying that you have to choose priorities in your life and be willing to follow God whenever and however he calls you. And may God bless us.